take you back to 2015, specifically E3 of 2015. Nintendo was in the midst of doing their presentation that year, and it was pretty rough, to put it lightly. Star Fox Zero was looking to be a poor imitation of Star Fox 64, Metroid Prime Federation Force infuriated Metroid fans, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam sure was the thing that no one really cared for and still really don't talk about today, and then there was it. Like many others, I was hoping for a successor to Animal Crossing New Leaf to release on the Wii U, and well, whether we liked it or not, we did get an HD Animal Crossing game. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival was met with immediate vitriolic hatred upon its reveal, with many calling it a poor imitation of Mario Party, which, you know, to be fair, the recent Mario Party games at the time could also be deemed poor imitations of Mario Party. All of these years later, I still have trouble believing that this even happened. Why did this happen? Well, according to the game's director, Aya Kugoku, Amiibo Festival was conceived to serve as a vehicle to make Animal Crossing Amiibo. Now, a game conceived around scanning in a real-world figurine or toy can work. I mean, look at Skylanders or Disney Infinity. There was just one issue. The Toys to Life trend would die out soon after. If you ask me, I think people didn't like the idea of buying these figurines that didn't do much outside of the few games that they were intended for. Amiibo at least had the advantage of working across a multitude of Nintendo games, plus Nintendo's characters were more recognizable and more desirable to gamers. There was a reason that out of all of the companies to hop on the Toys to Life trend, Nintendo was the only one still doing it 3 console generations later. Of course, that doesn't mean every implementation of Amiibo was good. Metroid Samus Returns locked content behind its Amiibo, and as for Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, they're required to play the game. Well, it's been 10 years since Amiibo Festival was released, and I thought, well, maybe I'll give this game a fair shot. See if it's as bad as everyone claimed it was back then, or if it was simply just a case of wrong place, wrong time. So remember how I said Amiibo were required? Well, we can't even get past the title screen without scanning one in. Fortunately, the game came with 2 Amiibo figurines, that being Isabelle and Digby, as well as Amiibo cards for Goldie, Stitches, and Rosie. Fortunately, here in the year of our Lord 2025, this game is pretty cheap complete in box. I got my still factory sealed copy with everything included for less than $30. Shocking considering a lot of commercial failures do eventually go on to, find an audience and go way up in price. But I think it's also just telling that this game isn't really sought after at all. Once we scan our Amiibo in for the first time, we're presented with the only available game mode, that being the board game. Now, we can select to have 1 to 4 players in a game, which fortunately not every player is required to have an Amiibo to play. You can instead select from a list of pre-made villagers. I, of course, want to do a 4-player game to get the best experience possible, because if Mario Party has taught me anything, the more players there are, the more chaos can arise. But who do I get to play with me?
I mean, I'll play that trash with you. For a price.
Price. How about a bet? Whoever wins has to be the other's house cleaner for a week.
Alright, but if I win, I want to see you in a proper maid outfit.
Shit, I'd do that for free. Now, just who do we get for players 3 and 4? Oh, I know!
Look, I know someone who I can call. I'm just gonna get them before you crap yourself. What? Did you just say sexually reproduce?
Sure did. What, you can't?
No!
Well, that takes care of our 3rd player, but what about our 4th? Oh, I could call up Dagother.
No! I am not speaking to him again!
Why?
Because the last time you invited him to hang out with us, he just kept calling me that word. The N-word.
I could join you guys.
Who are you?
The name's Kimberly. Don't wear it out. Holy shit, I remember you! We went to college together!
You didn't go to college?
The Bard's College in Skyrim.
I'm pretty sure that place was a scam.
Anyway, welcome to the crew, It's Kimberly. Not anymore. You're Kiki now. Whatever. Alright, so once everyone has their Amiibo scanned into the Wii U gamepad, we can begin, of which the first game you play will always be in the current month that your system is set to, which in our case is June. I do find it rather odd that there's only one game board to choose from, but to be fair, when you clear your first game, you are absolutely free to select whatever month you want to play in, which kind of act as different game boards, sort of. While the board itself doesn't change, the holidays and events that occur in each month do, and that at least can make things feel a little different. Honestly, it would have been cool if there was a way that you could connect to your copy of New Leaf on the 3DS and import your town data, and then the game could work some magic to turn it into a game board, but I suppose that's easier said than done. Oh, and one more thing before we properly get started. If you end up enjoying this video, then please drop a like down below, maybe even comment, and if you really ended up enjoying yourself, maybe consider subscribing. It helps out the channel in the long run. Now anyway, back to our regularly scheduled... Alright, so let's go over how your typical match will play out in this game by discussing the mechanics. So first off, the player turn order is randomized with no way to influence it. When a match starts, the host villager will give you an estimation of how long the match will take, with it depending on how many players are present in the game. So a 4-player game will take roughly around an hour and 15 minutes, although in our case it went for much longer. You are given the option to set a time limit if you and your friends are pressed for time, which is nice of them to add. So, how do we play this exactly? Why, I'm glad you asked. You simply just take your amiibo figurine and hold it up to the gamepad's NFC touch point and pull the figure away when you want to throw the dice. Then your character will move in accordance with the dice just like any other board game.
Okay, but what are we doing exactly? What's the end goal?
Well, we need to earn two things. Bells, which are the currency in the Animal Crossing universe, but also happy points. Depending on what space you land on, you can gain either one or the other, or in certain spots you can gain both at once, which is really useful. There are, of course, negative variants of these spots, but they're not all that common, oddly. Every so often, a special character can arrive and transform spots into event spots where you have to interact with that special character. Special characters vary in what they do and offer to players. Let's start off with Red since he was the first we got to appear. So here in Amiibo Festival, Crazy Red can sell to players one of 5 cards for 100 bells. Just note that each player can only buy 1 card per visit. Honestly, I'm glad we got him first because this game is a great way to experiment with the game's card system.
Which, yes, of course you're gonna take a detour from your spiel to make another spiel about.
Please, tell us about the cards, Nya.
You're a fox girl. Foxes don't say no.
Cards are like the items you can obtain in the Mario Party games. They have various effects ranging from being able to move a predetermined amount of spaces to even changing the negative spaces into positive ones. Well, that's pretty lame. Well, there is, of course, the opposite, which turns all of these spaces into negative ones for a few turns, and that just so happens to be what you have, Kiki. Oh, hell yeah, I'ma use it. Wait, well, just be aware that using something like that can backfire. There are also cards you can get that can influence the stock market, but we'll save that for a little later. Alright, back to the special characters. Katie would show up quite a bit, so let's talk about her next. She's traveling from town to town to trade cards with players. You can trade in one of your cards for one of hers if it catches your eye, but what if you don't have any cards? Well, fortunately, Katie will play a simple game with you where she pulls a dice card and you just have to guess if the second card she pulls will be of a higher or lower number than the first. Say she pulls a 5, well then you can guess if it's going to be a 6 or a 4 and lower.
It's just simple statistics. It's more likely to be lower. Oh, come on!
Honestly, skill issue, yeah. Katrina can show up and give you a fortune reading with tarot cards. She can pull one of 6 cards, which I'll throw up on screen as to what each of them do. You can pause and read them if you choose. The TLDR is that depending on what tarot card you pull, if someone rolls the number on that card, then you'll receive a bonus of bells or happy points. Be warned though, very rarely, and I mean like once in all of our playthroughs of this game, Katrina can pull an inverted tarot card which will cause the effects to be negative. So if someone rolls that card's number, then you'll lose bells or happy points. The effects of the tarot card only last for 1 in-game week, however, so it's not like it's that big of an issue if you do get an inverted card. Dr. Strunks quickly became my least favorite special character in the game because of how frequently he showed up, not to mention his shtick just isn't all that interesting, I find. He'll spin a roulette wheel with 3 dice on it and one final slice of it being his face. If you end up landing on the dice, then he'll give you a dice card with that number on it, while also telling you a terrible, terrible joke. If it lands on his face, then he'll randomly give you one of the non-movement cards, you know, your negative space cards and whatnot. Lastly is Phineas, the fur seal, not the triangular head-shaped, who can spin a roulette wheel with all the players on it, and whoever it lands on will win a fabulous prize, like this one-of-a-kind Palkia plush.
Huh? That's not
The
what
plush contains either bells or happy points inside, so in order to get those, we gotta... It's funny because no matter who lands on his event space, anyone can receive the prize, and that extends to this rainbow slice, which if the roulette wheel lands on, will award all players bells and happy points. Alright, we finished our first week. Now, just like the mainline games, Joan will show up on every Sunday to sell turnips. You can purchase as many as your heart desires, or that you can afford, and throughout the week you'll have the opportunity to sell them for a much higher price. The price of turnips is randomized on each space, but is influenced by that week's trend. The market can have a steady increase, crash, or fluctuate. Of course, you want to buy low and sell high to make a shitload of bells. You can even use a card to influence the stock market to your favor. Okay, but like, what's the point of gaining bells outside of buying stuff, Nya?
Stop.
Well, you see, at the end of the game, your bells get folded into your happy points. For every 1,000 bells you have, will give you 1 happy point. So say you have over 100,000 bells, then that's 100 additional happy points added to your final total. What I found is that while gaining happy points during the game is somewhat important, you really want to gain as much bells as possible, as that will really help you in the end.
Well, these stamps also seem to be pretty important.
Oh shit, you just reminded me, I nearly forgot about those. At the corners of the town are 4 gyroids who can stamp this stamp card that each player has. For each stamp you receive, you'll gain an increasing amount of happy points, with it going from 5 to 10, 15, and capping out at 30 when you filled out all 4 corners of the stamp card. You can still visit the gyroids after you fully filled out the card, which will just award you 5 additional happy points per visit. Oh hey, Joan is here. Wait, it's not Sunday. What is she... Oh no. What's up? Joan is in a bad mood, which can be bad for us if we land on her event spot. If you land on a Joan spot, she can make you pay for the repairs for her farm after some kids vandalized it, costing you 1,000 bells. Or you could get lucky and she'll give you 10 turnips for free. Or you could get really unlucky like this bitch and have Joan tell you that the 120 turnips you were just about to sell were all spoiled, losing all of that money. Oh, fuck you. Of course, the game incorporates seasonal events, just like the mainline series, and I believe all of these are adapted from New Leaf, as it was the most recent title at the time. Now, how many holidays you get and which ones you see depend on the month you're playing in. Some months are jam-packed with events, like December, which has both Toy Day and New Year's Eve in it, but also the fishing tourney. Meanwhile, a month like June really only has the bug-catching contest and Father's Day. Honestly, the events are probably the best part about this game. Well, kinda, sort of, but some of these just aren't as good as others, like the tourneys, for example. With these, all the spaces get transformed into catching spaces, where you catch either a bug or a fish upon landing on them. But if a player lands on the silver or the illustrious gold spaces, then that might as well be a goddamn guaranteed victory for them. You're just mad because I kicked your ass in that bug catching contest.
I don't even get to stand on the podium. I just lost that hard.
Some of the holidays, like Father's Day, don't even really do much outside of making the scenarios you encounter on the regular spaces themed to that day. The main holidays, such as Toy Day, Thanksgiving, or even Festivale, are where the real fun happens. Now, Toy Day is simple, as Jingle will just give every player either Happy Bells, points, or in our case, 100 turnips, which, fun fact, isn't even mentioned on Wikipedia, which just goes to show you that the prime database of Animal Crossing knowledge doesn't even have everything about this game down. Other holidays like Thanksgiving or Festivale work more like the tourneys, with all of the board spaces transforming into spaces relevant to that specific event. I find Thanksgiving to be the more interesting of the two, as you and the other players pretty much have to work together to gather the necessary ingredients to make a hearty Thanksgiving feast. Although don't worry if you don't get all of the ingredients, as it just means the reward won't be as big. May I chime in with a criticism? Sure, be my guest. Something that bothers me about this game is the lack of chaos and just general stuff to do on the boards. I feel like one of the best parts of games like Mario Party is the chaos caused by the various events on the board or the mini-games. This game doesn't even have mini-games. Well, no, it does, but we'll save that topic for a little later. But yeah, I found myself at several points intentionally trying to aim for the negative spots just for something interesting to happen, although fortunately, we didn't have to wait too long for something catastrophic to occur.
Wait, what? No! No, my money!
Get fucked! It's moments like that that are sorely missing from Amiibo Festival. I mean, they do occur, as you saw, but it doesn't happen that often. And listen, I get that the point of Animal Crossing is to have a place to escape to and relax. I get it. But maybe the whole coziness factor doesn't translate all that well to a board game. There are other monthly events that can occur, such as Opposite Day, which has several effects. First off, all players move in reverse, which if you are close to a gyroid can be mildly frustrating. Then, whatever space you land on will have the opposite effect, so a positive space will have negative consequences and vice versa. Not to mention the stock market value of each space is obscured from the player until they land on it, which can really suck if it's Saturday when you're forced to sell any remaining turnips that you have. Double Dice Day happens on the 11th and 20th of every month and is pretty self-explanatory. You get 2 dice to roll instead of 1, meaning that you can move up to 12 spaces. Players can also receive bonus happy points if both dice end up landing on the same number. The last event that can happen is the stock market closure, which just means that for one random day, players can't sell their turnips. Although note that this can't occur on Sundays since the market isn't open on Sundays anyway. Alright, we made it to the end of the month, and the winner is...
Huh, you weren't kidding about bells mattering, but hey, look at that. I beat you.
No, we both lost. Sure, you did better than me, but neither of us got first place.
Wait, that was never a condition of our agreement. No one's giving Han to this bounty hunter.
What? Who's Han?
Oh, I thought you all would. But no, I beat you.
Best 2 out of 3, let's go again.
No.
After you complete a match, your happy points will be added up and saved to the amiibo. So oddly, your happy points act like experience points, as the more you gain, your character will level up, unlocking new outfits for them, and even emotes. Oh, I haven't mentioned emotes, have I? Well, that's because I genuinely have no clue why the fuck these are here, outside of just simply being carried over from the mainline games. You just tap the emotion on the gamepad to perform it, and only when it's your turn. That's it. I got nothing else for these. What do you want me to say? That's not the only thing you can unlock, as after a few games, you unlock the ability to scan in Animal Crossing amiibo cards to move villagers into your town. Up to 8 villagers can be moved in at once, and what's cool is that these villagers can also serve as the game's host. If that card also happens to have data from the 3DS spin-off Happy Home Designer on it, the house data gets carried over too, which is actually kinda cool. You can even scan that villager's card during the game to get a special dice roll. I have no clue why. We only rolled the special side of the die once, and it only moved us 2 spaces. You can even build features in the town that actually influence the game board. A lot of them can change around tiles and even create new pathways on the map, which is actually really cool. Just note that these cost happy tickets. Happy tickets are acquired after a match, where 100 happy points earned will equate to 1 happy ticket. You use these to buy those aforementioned features, but also unlock what I swear to God was the bane of my existence when playing this: the minigames. So there are a variety of minigames you can play, and by variety, I mean 8, and they all require use of the amiibo cards, and while some of them are fine, the amiibo integration ranges from why is this like this to asinine. Balloon Island, I swear, is a pain in the ass to play. You just scan the amiibo card to drop the character, with the goal being to pop these balloons to earn points, and then land on the island, which will multiply your points based on where exactly you land. But I swear, I rarely got the villager to land on the island, as they always dived into the ocean, which null and voids any points you earned during that round, which was frustrating. What am I doing wrong? Am I doing anything wrong at all? Why is this minigame so... Acorn Chase requires 3 amiibo cards and is frantic. You need to gather these acorns while avoiding the corner cart chasing you the whole time, and you move by scanning the amiibo cards, which, like, why? There is a perfectly usable analog stick and D-pad right above the NFC touch point. These kinds of minigames were a huge turnoff for me, because when I get into a panic, my brain gets confused really fast. Like this minigame here with SETI Bop. It's a whack-a-mole game, but after a bit, I just started scanning cards with no idea of what I was really doing, just going, oh, no, this one, no, that one, no, I mean, The instant I saw both Amiibo Card Battle and Mystery Campers require 6 Amiibo cards, I said, nope, and I played something else. Fruit Path. God, this was such a perplexing minigame. You have an amiibo help you collect fruit, and how many you gather per turn depends on the card you scan, with you and the other player competing to gather the most fruits, but there are these pitfalls that if you're carrying too much fruit will cause you to fall in and lose half your accumulated points. There feels like there's some kind of strategy here, but for whatever reason, I can't see it. After I did the quiz game, which, by the way, if you're by yourself, you don't even use amiibo for, I give up on the mini games. I'm glad these aren't a part of the board game because these are just terrible. And what's funny is that I can see these working if they just use traditional input methods like, oh, I don't know, the various buttons on the Wii U gamepad. Having to scan a card to do basic fucking inputs is so stupid. And look, I get it. It's a game based around amiibo, but a gimmick cannot justify shitty control methods. This extends to a larger issue with the Wii U itself, with the whole looking away from the action on the TV to do stuff on the gamepad, which interrupts the flow of gameplay on the system, but that's a topic for another video. I'll just say this, there's a reason why these Zelda devs said Breath of the Wild felt much better with the gamepad mechanics removed.
Well, that was one long string of complaints, but we doing round 2 or not?
You can go for 2 rounds on me, yeah.
Stop!
While we do that round 2, I want to give my closing thoughts. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival isn't as bad of a game as some people said it was back when it initially released 10 years ago. I do think the actual mechanics at play here are well-adapted versions of the main series mechanics and staples. I wish more calamities could occur more often, but I suppose that wouldn't be in the spirit of Animal Crossing. My main issue, however, is the amiibo integration, but even then, that still has one positive to it. Okay, first, why I don't like the amiibo integration. It's just unnecessary to require amiibo to use this game. Everything, and I mean everything that is done with the amiibo, can just be done with basic button presses on the Wii U gamepad. In fact, you can use basic button presses on the Wii U gamepad if you opt to use the villager characters instead of the amiibo. Why on earth would you make players use amiibo while simultaneously having a no amiibo option that acknowledges that amiibo integration is unnecessary? You know how I would have done it? Simply to just have the amiibo unlock various villagers as playable characters. One tap, then boom, done. The one positive thing that the amiibo integration does allow for, though, is that you really don't need other players physically with you to play the game. You can absolutely play this with 3 other friends over something like Discord, but I doubt that that's what the devs had in mind when they made this. If you play this, play it with friends so that you can all share in the pain together. And I mean real friends, not the imaginary delusions of a furry trans girl. Imaginary? Bitch, I'm more real than you. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival is an okay party game that simply gets gimped by its entire reason to exist. Also, pro tip, if you do decide to play this, get some good drinks when you do. That'll make those negative moments all the more fun. Speaking of which, no, god damn it!
Alright, C. Dress up.
So yeah, that's why I swore off peanut butter.
Please, never speak to me again.
Alright, I'm ready. Wood.
Ugh.
Well, with all of that said, have a great day or night. Peace.